right? Especially with the other names that are already there at heavyweight. You add Jon Jones to the mix, and now the camera's taken off you even more. It's something I actually dislike about the UFC right now, is that it's not about what you can accomplish. It's about how much the spotlight's on you.
Right.
And Jon Jones entering the division makes it dimmer on everyone else, right? They're already calling for Jones versus Miocic for a title fight. He hasn't even had a fight in the heavyweight division yet, right? So that shouldn't be the case. For me, it's you take a fight like this, and whoever wins that maybe gets a shot at Jon Jones to prove Jon Jones can compete at heavyweight before he gets a title strike. But that might not be the case.
It might not.
Right.
I was going to say, because there was also talks about, forgive me, Usman is going up to... No, so it's not Usman.
Adesanya.
That's it. That gentleman was talking about how he wants to fight Jon Jones. Like, if we literally just watched an episode about this, about how it's a fight that would like to be seen in 2021. However, Cobe believes it would be done in 2022 if it were to be done at all. Because Adesanya is moving up to lightweight, correct?
Light heavyweight.
Right, he's moving up to light heavyweight, and because he's already dominated the division he's in, which is middleweight.
Correct.
Okay. So, from my understanding, what is Adesanya's game plan then, moving up to lightweight? To take the belt from
I honestly believe that Adesanya, because he started this rivalry with Jon Jones a little while back, because there was talk about which one's better.
Yeah.
And Adesanya fully believes that he's the better martial artist than Jon Jones. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's the case, but he believes so. So he started calling out Jones, but Jones saw it as it's just a middleweight calling out a light heavyweight who's currently in the process of moving up to heavyweight. So he doesn't see that the two of them being in the same realm physically.
Right.
But Adesanya says it's not about that. It's about martial arts skill. Mm. So as soon as Jon Jones announced he was going up to heavyweight, it was shortly after that Adesanya felt like it's time for me to go up to light heavyweight and take that title in order to entice Jones to come back down to light heavyweight to have the super fight between them and say who's the real champion there. I don't think Adesanya really has plans to move up to heavyweight. He's talked about, I'll come up to heavyweight and get you there if I have to, but that's just talk. A lot of it's just talk. Yeah. Right? I don't think Adesanya... It would take quite some time for him to get up to heavyweight, and even if he did, I don't know if he'd be a really sufficient fighter at that much of a weight gain. I don't think that would really work for him. But at light heavyweight, I can see it happening. But in order for that to happen, I think Jon Jones has to do what he wants to do at heavyweight. Mm-hmm. Adesanya has to become the light heavyweight champion, right, and then allow for enough time for Jones to shed the weight he just spent so much time gaining to come back down to light heavyweight and fight. So this year, no way. No, absolutely not. 2022, maybe.
But more or less probably later, 2023, 2024.
That's right? Yeah. Or it may never happen at all, right? It could be one of those situations where it's just too far apart, right? There are a number of super fights in history that everybody wanted to see that never happened because just the two fighters were too far apart in weight. Right? And this isn't weight class. We're talking about in weight, right? Adesanya doesn't shed much to fight at middleweight. No. He doesn't. It's very close to his walk-around weight, right? He doesn't need to. He has just the ability to fight at that particular weight class. So for him to move up to light heavyweight's not too hard, right? And same thing with Jon Jones. Jon Jones walked around a little bit heavier in light heavyweight, but not a lot heavier. He generally stayed in shape the majority of the time. Yeah. So he had to add some muscle to move up to heavyweight. He's not one of these guys who can just say, I'll fight a heavyweight now because that's where I'm at before I shed. That wasn't the case, right? So by the time he does become a true heavyweight, how much, like the distance between them is going to be significant.
Because we're going to say too, like, according to sources, Jon Jones walks around at 240 now. And if you look at the photos, he's like jacked as sin.
He's gotten big.
Yeah, exactly. And Adesanya, I don't know, his walking on weight is 185. Like...
Maybe.
I don't know. Like, he's very, very thin. Yeah. So, I don't know.
190, say?
One, possibly.
Right? He sheds 5 pounds to fight. Like, well, seriously, I don't think it's much over. Right?
His probably, like, training camp for shredding weight is like, I have to fight on Friday and it's Monday. All right. 2 meals a day. extra half an hour on the elliptical every day, whatever he does.
Yeah, and you're talking about two fighters that are very skilled.
Right.
Very skilled fighters. But something I've seen from Jones that I haven't really seen from Adesanya, and it's partially because he hasn't really had to, but Jon Jones proved a couple of times, I think honestly just for fun, that he can take down whoever he felt like taking down and dominate wrestling.
Right.
He's a very good wrestler, although you don't see it too often because he's such a great striker.
Sure.
But when he wanted to, like just to prove it to Daniel Cormier, he took Cormier down and dominated him. And Cormier was, the Olympic wrestler in the division, so he proved that his wrestling is on par with an Olympian. Haven't seen that from Adesanya. And if Adesanya moves up to face somebody who's significantly larger than him naturally, if Jon Jones were to decide to take Adesanya down, I don't know if there's enough there for Adesanya to resist that. It could just be a dominant ground game that Jon Jones brings to the table and finishes him with. But again, I don't know if we'll see it happen.
I was going to say, yeah, because in that case, even if Jon Jones, let's say he sticks at 240, maybe goes 250, wins the heavyweight, and then accepts the fight from Adesanya, goes down to light heavyweight, cuts. You're right, because I don't know how much weight Adesanya can put on.
Correct. He fights to get up to light heavyweight.
Yeah.
He's at light heavyweight, but then he's fighting someone who, say, sheds 15, 20 pounds to get down to it. But then by the time they fight, he's another 15 pounds heavier.
You're right.
So you're fighting a guy who's 15 pounds heavier and 15 pounds of muscle.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Versus a guy who just had to add the weight somehow to make weight. I don't know. It doesn't seem feasible to me. If it was just a striking competition, it'd be very different. That'd be very interesting to see. But I think if Jon Jones decided to use his strength and just whether push him up against the cage or take him down, then I think it's over, honestly.
So do I. Now that you bring up that point comparison there. I don't know who's taller between Adesanya and who's longer reach as well.
I think Jones. We'd have to look at the numbers.
Yeah,
we have to look it up. Look it up. Let's find out.
See who's popping. Because in that case, that would change. I don't think it would change too much. But I mean, Adesanya can try to do what McGregor did.
Adesanya is tall for his division, but Jon Jones is a big guy.
So his reach is 84 inches, and he's 6'4".
Okay, that's Jones.
Yeah.
All right, 6'4", 84-inch reach. That's wingspan.
Wow, Google's listening to me because I typed in A and it was like Adesanya stats. Right off the bat. So Adesanya is also 6'4", and his reach is 80.
Okay, so essentially they're about the same size.
About the same size.
Just Jones is thicker.
Yeah. And has 4-inch reach. Oh my god, that's
not much. Right? Something that a lot of casual fans don't realize is they measure reach as wingspan.
Yeah.
Right? So that's tip to tip, you hold your arms out.
Yeah.
But what you have to understand is actual fight reach is very different. So a lot of that, what comes into that is your stance. Do you have a forward stance? Do you stand back like a Thai kickboxer? You stand very erect, right? Because that factors into how your reach is affected effectively during a fight. So to me, I don't ever pay much attention to reach difference unless it's at least 6 inches.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if it's 6 inches, then I'm like, okay, that's significant. That's significant, regardless of how they stand or such. That can be a changing point.
Sure.
Right, but under that, like 4 inches, it sounds like a lot, but really that's 2 inches aside.
Yeah.
Right, and depending on stance, it could even be less. Right, so that really doesn't factor in. The fact that they're both the same height, like height is more important. It's more important because then you're not punching up to somebody.
And they're both 6'4", right? So.
Right, so again, a lot of that will be kick. I think kick range is more important, especially with those two fighters. They have fantastic repertoire of kicks. It'll be a great fight.
Yeah,
it would be a great fight unless Jones decided to take him down. If you get a chance, watch that. Watch that fight with Cormier. I think it's the second fight with Cormier where he takes him down, and watch how easily he manhandles Cormier. And this is a natural heavyweight who's an Olympic wrestler, and Jones has no issue just taking him down at will, basically. So that tells you what kind of skill Jones has on the ground, although he rarely ever uses it because why even overexert myself? Right? I can just kick the shit out of you relaxed. and not have to overexert. So that's just the way it's been. I'm looking forward to the first fight at heavyweight with Jones, whoever that may be. I hope it's not Miocic. I really hope it isn't. I don't want it to be an immediate title fight. I'd rather see him fight a couple other guys first.
Yeah.
But whoever the first fight is, I want to see it. If I had my choice of who his first opponent would be, it would be Ngannou. It would be Francis. That's what I would want to see.
That would just be power for power.
The most powerful striker in the heavyweight division against who will definitely be the most skilled striker in the heavyweight division with the addition of Jon Jones.
Depending on what the card would hold, that could definitely just be a main card, like a fight.
Oh yeah, no, that's a main event.
Main event, and then
100% that's a main event.
Unless McGregor's fighting, that'd be a co-main at that point.
I would take that over a McGregor fight, to be honest. I would take that over a McGregor fight. McGregor has a lot of pull only because the UFC has put so much behind him. Right? And he's a very marketable character. But having suffered that loss to Poirier and the way he lost, like Poirier beat him convincingly.
It's a meme.
Right? That takes a lot of the fire out of that right now. McGregor is not the biggest ticket right now. I would argue that Adesanya, Jones,
Usman.
Not Usman, because because Usman isn't as exciting a fight as the other two. He's not really a finisher.